Well, welcome in everybody. I understand new year, new resolutions, and maybe a new machine or two. So this class, we're going to do a broad walkthrough on setting up your machine. That's just going to be a little portion of it. And then we're going to talk about starting your first project, sort of getting you comfortable and familiar with some of the terms and terminology that go along with your Cricut machine. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll start with a presentation, and this will be a walkthrough that will give you lots of information on how to get started, what you need, and then we'll go into making a few projects. So I know like everybody comes into one of these classes sort of with an idea of what your first project you want to do. Some of you may want to have a paper project, so I'm going to show you how to cut some paper. Some of you may be wanting to design tumblers, so I'm going to show you how to cut out and apply some vinyl. And then some of you are interested in getting into t-shirts and things like that. So I'm going to show you how to do some iron-on designs while my cup is rolling off my table. So we'll show how to do some iron-on materials, the supplies you need to make those materials, and some tips and tricks as we go along. So I'll go ahead and get started with the presentation, and then feel free as we go along. If you have questions, drop them in the Q&A. I will try and answer those as I'm moving through the information. I may not answer them directly, but I'll answer them as we're going through. And then at the end of the workshop, I'll provide a link to the presentation because some of the slides have links that you can click through to get more information. So let's go ahead and get that started. So today's workshop is your Cricut Kickstart, and it's a beginner's guide to crafting your first masterpiece. Okay, give me 1 second. I gotta get my cursor in the right spot. Okay. Not moving along with everybody. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty here. Let me just make sure I'm in the right spot. Okay. So this class is designed, there we go. This class is designed to give you some pointers and guides of setting up your machine and completing your first project. From a personalized tumbler, a card, there's so much more that you can create with your Cricut machine. Basically, what you need is some confidence to get started and tackle some beginner-friendly projects. So when I say confidence, starting with a new machine and new technology can be a little bit overwhelming. So when I talk about confidence, it's almost like a blind confidence of like, yes, I can do this. I can do hard things. So we want to inspire you to do those hard things. So depending on which machine you have, your setup will be similar, as well as the overall use of your different machines will be similar. So some of you may be joining today, maybe you got the Maker, maybe you got the Explorer, the Cricut Joy, or the Cricut Joy Extra, or even the Venture. And some of you are starting with very limited experience using a digital cutter. Some of you may have a little bit more experience. So whatever level of crafter you are, whichever machine you have, and whatever you want to produce, that you just have to keep remembering your why. So why did you get this machine? What do you want to learn to make with your machine? And for some of you, it may be, cutting out a pressure point in your crafting process, a way to make things easier. So if you want to go ahead and grab your notebook and a pen, you can jot down some notes as we go along. The important thing though, and I love this quote from JP Morgan, is the first step towards getting somewhere is to decide you're not going to stay where you are. So I know some of you may have had a New Year's resolution of you got a machine last year for your birthday, but you haven't taken it out of the closet or out of the box. You haven't set it up yet. So you haven't gotten any further on learning your craft than you did when you got your machine. And for those of you that got a new machine, I don't want you a year from now being like, oh, I should have taken that out of the box. Imagine how far I'd be along today if I had just taken it out of the box then. Okay, so getting started. So what do you need to get started? To get started, you'll need your Cricut machine, whether that's a Maker, Explorer, Joy, or Joy Extra. And it doesn't really matter which version of the machine you're using. So you could have a Cricut Maker or Cricut Make It 3. You may have an Explorer, Explorer Air, or an Explorer 3. So whichever machine you have, that's great. And then you need your device. Now, your device is your desktop, your laptop, a tablet, or your mobile device. So if you have like an iPad or a phone, you just need some sort of device that you can input information, connect with your machine, and talk to your machine and give the ideas to your machine. And then you'll need the materials to craft. Now, all of the machines you'll need to have, for most of your projects, you want to use a mat, and then your vinyl or your cardstock, whatever material you're using, your blank, which could be a tumbler or a mug or a t-shirt, whatever you're putting something on, and then some tools like a weeding tool, a brayer, or a scraper tool. So the first part is getting yourself set up to connect your machine. And it's really 4 very easy steps. So the first step is to take your machine out of the box and connect your device using the USB cord or Bluetooth. You can do it either way. And you can also use the cord that comes in the box or USB. And then you want to download and install Design Space. And you would do that on your desktop, your laptop, your mobile device, your phone, whatever device you're using. You'll download the app, and then you'll follow the on-screen prompts to create your Cricut ID and set up your new machine. And then once your machine is set up, it will ask you to complete a test cut. Now, once we finish with this, I'll kind of go over the parts. I have a machine here, and I'll kind of go over those parts to give you a walkthrough on those different setup parts of it. But let's talk a little bit about what the different parts are within this Cricut software. The Cricut software is called Design Space, and that's Cricut's, it's a software app that works on, again, your desktop, your laptop, a mobile device, or a tablet device. And the Design Space is really where it's kind of like the hub. It's where everything comes together for you. So you can design in Design Space. You can upload designs from a different, let's say you're very proficient at Illustrator and you make your own SVG designs. You can upload those into Design Space. If you buy designs from another source, you can upload those into Design Space and then send those designs to your cutter to be cut. So Design Space is really the hub of everything you're doing with your Cricut machine. Now, in order to get Design Space to work, you need to have your Cricut ID. And you just can, when you go to register your first machine, that's when you'll be prompted to set up a Cricut ID. And I always say, think of your Cricut ID like your Google ID or your Netflix ID. You only need one ID. No matter how many TVs you watch Netflix on, you only need one Netflix username. And that's the same thing with Cricut Access. You really only need to have one username, and then it works across all the different devices you have the Design Space installed on. So I'll work on my laptop or my desktop and cut to my machine. And then sometimes like I'm on the go or I just have an idea and inspiration, and I'll put that into my phone and then I can send it to my machine from my phone. But all of that happens with just one Cricut ID. And so your Cricut ID sets up your Design Space, and think of your Design Space as the heart of what you're crafting. Now, along with your Cricut ID and your new machine, you will have a 30-day free trial access to Cricut Access. Think of Cricut Access like the library. It is a digital library full of images, fonts, and projects that you can use to create on your machine. So I always suggest, if you're just getting started, use that 30-day free trial. Use that. because it has, you don't have to think about getting a design, uploading the design, but you get to use the Cricut Access Digital Library, all the designs that are in there. You get to use those for free, and then you kind of can try out different projects, see like, oh, I thought I got this for paper, but wow, I'm really into making t-shirts. So I always recommend start off with that Cricut Access, the free 30-day trial, and really use that to the most that you can in those first 30 days. From there, you can decide, do I want to pay for the monthly subscription? Right now, I think there's over 600,000, 800,000 images in Design Space. So there are so many images there that I will never even scratch the surface of all the images. And I find that I just go into Cricut Access, and I'm very easily able to find the images. Occasionally I do either design my own, or I will purchase an image and upload it. But for the most part, I use that Cricut Access, and I get a lot of use out of it. And I see lots of questions, so I will pause. This might be a good spot to pause and just browse through those real quick and see if I can answer any of those. So are all the rules instructions the same for all the machines across the board? Latoya, for the most part, all of the machines are the same. And there are differences between the two, which I'll kind of go through it as we're making our project, and I'll be able to kind of point out some of the differences. So I'm seeing some of these. So what is the benefit for paying for Design Space versus the free version? So when you use the Design Space Cricut Access, you get access to over 800,000 images now, the fonts, as well as tons of projects. And the projects have instructions, step-by-step how-tos. So I really think as a beginner, you get a lot of information. You get a lot of ideas and information through those projects, and they really walk you through there. All right, so good questions. Keep them coming. I'm going to keep rolling through the presentation here. So the machine supplies, each machine will have blades, pens, and cutting mats. Now, the machine size regulates the size of your mats. So your Cricut Joy, your Cricut Joy Extra have different size mats from each other and from your Explorer and your Maker. Your Explorer and your Maker, those mats, you can use those mats between the two different machines, as well as on your Explorer machine, you can use the blades that you use on your Explorer machine, you can use on your Maker. It doesn't go the other way though. Your Maker has a different type of gear head. So the tools that are available on the Maker are exclusive for the Maker, but you can use Explorer tools on the Maker, and the same pens will work between your Explorer and your Maker, but your Joy will have different size pens. So you do have, that's sort of one of the differences in the in your supplies, is that it's a little bit different different size in your supplies. Now, if you want to learn more about which paper, mats, blades work with which machines, I want to point you to the Cricut portion of the Michaels website. Each of the machines this is what their page looks like on the Michaels website. So you can click on a different machine and see which blades or which pens or which mats are compatible with each machine. Now, like your Cricut Joy cuts 50 different materials, your Explorer cuts 100 different materials, and your Maker cuts over 300 different materials. So as you go up in the machines, you have more materials that are available for you to cut. The Maker cuts such a broader range of materials really because it is the gear has more power to it, so you can use different blades on your Maker than you can your other machines. So you definitely get more tools on that. Now, again, I'm going to go over the different mats when we are in front of the camera so I can hold them up for you. But there are 4 different mats with your Explorer and your Maker. And then each of your machines will have different pens, your blades, and then your weeding tool and a scraper that are super helpful to have handy. And then your materials, like I said, you can, depending on which machine you're using, you can use a really broad range of materials. So you can use vinyl, cardstock, all your basic materials on your Cricut Joy. And then when you go up to the maker machine, you can cut things like balsa wood, you can etch with your maker machine. So as you go up in the machines, you have a wider selection of materials to work with. You'll always have your blank, so that might be your tumbler, your t-shirt, and then you'll also, if you're doing an iron-on project, you would have to have some sort of heat source for that iron-on project. Now, I want to point out this chart here. I included this in the presentation because Cricut has a website called learn.cricut.com, and it has a whole section where you can download supportive materials. And I really thought this was a great a great way to represent the different machines and what you can do with each of the different machines. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, that that's an option. So some of the beginner projects, if you want to work with paper, are cards, banners, menus, bookmarks. All of these are really good beginner projects that just really require cardstock and adhesive. So, you don't need too much to get involved with your paper projects. And then if you want to go up and work with some vinyl, you might, want to be decorating tumblers, adding labels, decorating planters, putting decals, creating decals. These are really great beginner projects, and you'll use vinyl and a transfer sheet. That's all you need for that. And then once you go into the iron-on area, so if you want to get into iron-on, that could be like your t-shirts, your tote bags, doormats even, and creating labels for different things. You just would use iron-on vinyl and a heat source, and that could be a home iron or a heat press. And I'm going to show you today how all that works together. Michaels also has a really robust library of YouTube videos that kind of dial down different areas. So I selected a few of them, and these do have the links to it. But setting up your Maker or Explore. So if you haven't taken it out of the box yet, those first two videos are would be helpful to watch. And then the Intro to Design Space and Actions in Design Space, those are really the videos that will give you a broader understanding of design space. And then the Actions in Design Space is the Canvas portion of design space. And then we have how to use vinyl and iron-on material. So those are just some quick link throughs. And again, we will share this presentation so you can get through there. And then additional resources as you're learning. Again, the Michaels YouTube channel has a lot of Cricut workshops on there. There are upcoming Cricut workshops, so you can learn your machine. And learn.cricut.com is an on-demand videos by Cricut. So those are really super helpful in learning. And then also Cricut has an official Facebook group that is moderated by Cricut. There's one specifically for beginners. So if you're just getting started, that's a great, very helpful Facebook group. And then I've added some ways that you can connect with me on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, and my Design Space account. And then I think, there should be one more slide. I'm missing one more slide on mine. Let's see if it's on this one. Nope. I have one more slide with more information on the different, some different links. Oh, I think I moved it. I did include that. Okay, so we're good. So, all right. So that is a lot of information. And Felicia, were there any questions that I didn't get to that you want to just read out to me maybe as I move to the next section?
So there's a question that's asking about the your ID if you can't remember it. So I think more they're asking is how can, I guess, you get your ID or if it can be reset.
Yes, you can just email. I think you can email and say, oh, I forgot my password, and reset your Cricut Access ID. If you're not sure, maybe you had an older machine and you forget if you even had a Cricut ID, you can try and log in and then reset your password through that.
There's also a question, how do you register your machine?
Oh, good. I'm going to show them how to do that.
Awesome. And then there's another question. Um, I think some of these are not so much because they're asking about vinyl on
Okay.
pottery and things of that nature. So I think if you can explain a little bit more about the different type of vinyl, whether it's iron-on or HTV vinyl or the 653, probably just asking about the different type of vinyls you can use and what used for.
Okay. So I do, yeah, we'll definitely get to that as we work on the vinyl projects. And I see this one question here about somebody got the gift and the person set up their Cricut account and they already activated the free trial account. In that instance, um, once she says, once the free trial is over, I'd like to continue with a paid subscription, but in my name. You can go into your account in Design Space and access your profile and update information in your profile. So if you have Design Space on your computer, on your laptop, and you can log into Design Space, you can just go into your profile and update it. You can also do that on the Cricut website too, when you log in to the Cricut website. Okay, so let's go. You guys are asking so many great questions, so keep those questions coming, and we are going to get to those questions as we move along. I'm going to tilt my camera down a little bit here so you can see my work surface. I'm going to be working with the Maker 3 today, and I have different mats on my desk that I wanted just to kind of talk about the mats a little bit. These are the 4 different flat mats that Cricut offers. Your machine probably came with the standard grip, and this works for most everything. So you'll use this with vinyl, you'll use this with I'm trying to think of what else, but mostly I use this with my vinyl and just my everyday kind of cutting. I use a standard grip. The light grip is called a light grip because it has a little bit of a lighter grip. So if you do a lot with paper, you want to use the light grip mat. For your Explorer and your Maker, you do have a fabric grip mat here, and you can cut fabric on your Explorer. You can cut a lot more fabric on your Maker with the rotary blade and those capabilities. And then this purple mat is for your Maker, and it's the strong grip mat. So if you're cutting like balsa wood or something, you really need it to stick onto your mat, that's when you would use your strong grip mat. Most of you as beginners will be working with either your standard grip mat or your light grip mat. And then for our card makers, this is the card mat that is for your Maker or your Explorer, and it comes, you can get a different size mat for the Joy Extra and the Joy. But basically it allows you to put a card, let me see if I can say this, you can put one of Cricut's cards into the slot. Let's see. I had a card set out here, it fell off. But you can, with these packaged cards, you can slide the card into the slot here so that it just cuts on the front of your card. So that's the card mat, and that is available for the different machines. Each machine has its own mat. So if you're into cards, this is the card mat, and that's a great machine.
Hey,
A
Kesley,
great mat. Mm-hmm.
really quick, since you just mentioned that, there is that question asking about, can you use the different mats for different Cricuts? Or can you, so I guess, could you use the mat from the Explorer with the Maker?
Good question. Your Explorer and your Maker are the same width. They're both 11.5 cut 11.5 inches. So you can use the same mat in your Explorer or your Maker. Your Cricut Joy Extra will have its own size mat because that's a little bit more narrow. And then your Cricut Joy will have even a smaller size mat. So you can't use your Cricut Joy mats in your Maker or your Explorer, but you can use the same mats between your Maker and your Explorer. So I know that's, and it's the same with the pens. So like the tips of your pens are a little bit different. The Joy tip is smaller than your Explorer and Maker. So you can use the same pen in your Explorer Maker and the same pen in your Joy or Joy Extra, but you can't use your Joy pen in your Maker. So you do want to make sure, like if you're purchasing pens and you have a Joy, it has that Cricut Joy on there. That way you know you get the same one. Now I do keep my mats as clean as possible, and I keep them clean using a little baby wipe. I'll put a baby wipe on the, like I'll wipe down my mat with the baby wipe after I've used it, especially if I'm using something that has a lot of fibers to it. So I'll kind of cut that down that way. I'm taking my camera over this way because I want to show you, I have my maker is here and it's open. When you get your machine out of the box, you'll have different cords. This is, I have different machines, so I've made these little holders for my plugs, so I don't get confused with which plug goes with which. So this is a project I did with iron-on material. With your maker, you'll have a cord, your outlet cord, so it'll have the plug on the end of it, and these two adapters plug into each other. So the first thing you want to do is take your machine out of the box, go ahead and plug your cord into your outlet, and then we're going to take our plug into the machine, and this goes into the back of your machine. So on the back side of your machine, you'll see if I can hold this up, see right there? That's where that cord goes. So I just pop that cord right into that piece there, and that goes there. Now you can turn your machine on. Once your machine is turned on, you want to connect it with your device. So if you're using, like your laptop or desktop or whatever device you've got, you're putting design space on, and I have it on everything. You want to connect those two machines. So this cord is the cord that allows you to connect with USB. So the square side goes in the back of your machine. I'm all twisted up here. Now you can also connect with Bluetooth. All the machines connect with, from Explorer Air on, they connect with Bluetooth. So your Joy machines don't actually have this cord. They only connect with Bluetooth. Your Explorer and your Maker, you can use this cord and connect with your machine. I like to, if I'm in a stable environment, like at my desk here, I prefer to connect with my cord. And really the only reason I do that is because it just gives me a little stability on my machine. So then I just take my my cord and I plug it in. I've got my laptop here, so I'm just going to plug it right in to my laptop. Let's see, is that that's my HDMI cable. Let me slide over to this way. There we go. So I just plug that in onto the back there. Now, once you have that plugged in, I'm going to, let's see if I can share my screen here. Once you've got so you've got it plugged into your outlet and you have it plugged in on your device. Let me grab this. Then we're going to go to the setup. And let me share let's see if I can share my screen with you guys. I think I can. I think I can. Okay. Okay. So you just go to the Cricut website and you're going to do, it's Cricut Setup, Cricut.com, I think /setup, something like that. Let's see if that pulls it up. Okay. So now it says, glad you're here. And you're just going to select which machine or heat press to connect. And so you go ahead and download your design space, whichever machine you're on. And since I already have it on my device here, I'm going to go ahead and open up Design Space. It will open up the application and it will walk me through setting up my new machine here. So then I would just do the same thing and set up my machine here. So it would be a Cricut Maker 3. I'd want to make sure that I'm, following, you're going to follow the prompts on here. Using USB or Bluetooth. Are you guys seeing that? Am I sharing that?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. And then, so you just keep walking through, and I'm actually not going to do it because I have already set up this Maker 3. You'll continue moving your way through until you get to the sample cut, and then I'll run you through a sample cut to make your first cut. Now, let's go in and look at Design Space. So I'm going to share my screen again here, and we're going to look at Design Space. Design Space has two different sections. It has the home screen and it has your canvas. The home screen is information that is sort of being shared out to you. So, like this is where you get inspiration about, what are you making? What are other people making? What's happening like Valentine's Day? So you may have some inspiration here. When you're ready to create a project, you're just going to go to New Project, and it brings you to your canvas. Now, I'm going to point everybody to the Intro to Design Space video because that will really walk you through your canvas. And then if you go to the actions in Design Space, it will walk you through doing a little bit more advanced information technology. I did see somebody ask if you could use your own photos with Design Space, and you certainly can. You can upload images and photos right here. My daughter was working on a Shorzy project for Valentine's Day, so she kind of had uploaded some, for Christmas, so she had uploaded some images there to work with. But you can definitely upload your own images, your own SVG files, anything like that. If you want to create a project, you can click on the images, and this will take you into Cricut's image library, where you could use a keyword search to find an image, or you can come here to search by category or for an image. Now, I have some projects I've already set up, and so that I'm able to answer some of your questions, I'm going to go ahead and work off the projects that I've set up to share. So the first one is this lip balm hugs and kiss holder. So you can go to somebody's profile, find a project they make, and you can just make that project, or you can customize that project if you wanted to customize it. So you would come into the canvas and bring the project onto your canvas, and then click the make icon. When you click the make icon, it sends you to what's called the prepare screen, and you just make sure, is everything prepared the way you want it to be, and then you say continue, and it will make sure it's connected to your machine, and then we can begin cutting. Oh, there we go, my Maker 3. Oh, maybe I didn't turn it on. Let's hope it's on. I'm connected. Your machine, please try turning your machine on and off. Okay, let's try turning it off. Maybe I didn't plug it in very well because I was going from the back side here. So I got it plugged in there. All right, let's try this again. I just had it working before the class, so I'm just hoping my cords aren't plugged in. There we go. Now, once you've got your machine connected, then you just pick your materials. I have some of my favorite materials pre-selected, so I'm just going to be using a medium cardstock. And for this first layer, it tells me I only need my fine point blade in. Now, this project you can make on all the different machines. The only difference I'll point out on this layer here, it does require scoring. Your drawing machines don't do the scoring feature, So it wouldn't allow you to move forward with this feature because it does have the score lines. I'm going to show you how in my Maker 3 though, I'm going to use the machine to create those score lines. And I've also added with the to from will be drawn onto that pink square, that pink heart there. So we'll start with the little purple heart there. Let's see, yep. And I'm just going to use medium cardstock, and we're going to remember that that's the material I'm using. And now I'm going to switch us over to, I'm going to stop share here. And on this, I will switch us over to my overhead. Okay. All right. So, oops, I'm a little crooked. There we go. Okay, so I've got my machine here, and you can see the light is flashing. So for this first project, this is what the end project's going to look like. I'll be using cardstock. So to work with cardstock, you just need to have your light grip mat and your cardstock. I'll be using a scoring wheel in my Maker, but if you had an Explorer, you could use the scoring stylus. And I'll be showing you how to load a pen into your machine, and then we'll actually put it together using adhesive. So the first layer I'm going to cut is the purple part here. And while that's cutting, I'll be able to answer some more of your questions. So I'm just going to put that purple material down. This is where that brayer actually really does come in handy, because you can just run that over your piece there, and it does like make sure that it's adhered down to your mat. So we're going to slide that in and let that go ahead and cut. So someone's asking, is it necessary or useful to have two different machines, for example, a Joy and a Maker? That's really a personal question. I think it depends on what you're doing. I have some teacher friends who like to have the Cricut Joy so they can take it into their classroom, and the Cricut Joys are very small. So, they're only 4.5, they cut 4.5 inches wide, and they're very small. So they fit like in the palm of your hand. So they're very transportable, if you will. So I like to have that one to go around, or take it, like if I'm organizing a closet, I can just take that in the closet. I don't think you need to have two different machines unless you really use both machines a lot. I don't think it's a need. I think that's more of like I could really use different machines. My daughter is in college, so she will take the Cricut Joy back to school with her. So she'll have that to use. Now, my next layer is the actual the heart box here. And I'm just loading in my scoring wheel. The scoring wheel is available on your Maker. On your Explorer, you would use the scoring stylus in clamp A, and that would do the scoring for you. It always does the scoring first, and then so it'll do the scoring first, and then it will do the cut lines. So Vicky's asking, which machine for an absolute beginner? Vicky, I think it depends on what you want to create. The Maker 3 definitely will not only grow with you as a crafter, it will inspire you to try different things. So you'll be inspired to try balsa woods, to try veneers, to try different fabrics, cutting different fabrics and things like that. If you are like, I want it to make scrapbook pages, or I want to make cards, then your Joy Extra and your Explore Air, or even the Joy, would be perfect for you. Like my mom is just really a scrapbooker. The Joy Extra is perfect for her because she can just do her scrapbook titles with it, and it's a really easy system for her to use. I went for the Maker when I first started because I sew, so I wanted it for the fabric part of it, the ability to cut fabric. So if you're a quilter, like the Maker 3 is a no-brainer. But you know, the explore is a great starting point, also. So I see lots of templates and vinyl questions. We're going to answer those. Not here. So to register the machine, Cindy, you just follow those steps. I showed you, you just go to cricut.com/setup, and then you just follow the prompts. You download the software on whatever device you're using, and you can register your machine that way. And you can one account, your Cricut account. So like with my Cricut account, I use a variety of different machines, and I have a variety of different machines that I've used. So my Cricut account actually has, 4 or 5 different machines registered. So you only need one Cricut account, even if you have 2 makers or 2 explorers. Like if you want to make stickers. Okay, now I'm going to put my pen in. We're just going to load that in. I'm going to put my pen in, and I'll load my paper. So it'll do the pen first, and then it'll cut out the design. So if you wanted to start a sticker business and you needed to have, multiple machines running at one time, you can do that with just one Cricut ID. So you don't need to have multiple Cricut IDs for each machine. It's the same one all over. So Patty's asking, what if you were doing this as a one-off project? Do you need to buy a Cricut? Is there a way to do it more inexpensively? So I'm not sure what your project is, Patty, that you're working on, but I got to tell you, like once you get it's sort of like a label maker. You got a label maker to help get your kids organized for school, but now everything in your house is labeled. So I found like adding the Cricut to my sewing toolbox, like I use now instead of a label maker. This, for example, was done on with iron-on material. So it just depends on like if you are a crafter, you will not be sad that you have a Cricut machine, because you will find so many uses for it. Heather, yes, you can use your own photos. You just in Design Space, go to that upload, and you can upload images. You can upload your own images in Design Space, and then they stay there. That's great for the print and cut feature to make stickers, or something like that. Like my son, for example, at Christmas took my parents, his grandparents, and made them into Bitmojis. And then he made stickers for them. So like on cards or envelopes, they have their like cute little Bitmoji on there. And he's like 24 years old, but was like, I want something unique for Gigi and Joe Pal for Christmas. So that's what he did. Okay, so I've cut out all my different layers, and you'll notice I turned my mat upside down and removed my mat from my paper. And you could save your little pieces here. So you can use those for another project if you wanted to. We'll set that aside because we're done with that now. And then I'll put my little plastic sleeve back on there. But you take your stickers out that way. Like you take your piece, you turn your mat upside down, and you remove your cardstock from your mat, because otherwise it gets it will curl on your mat. So now with these different layers, this is my box, and then I have this little heart, and I did a cutout of the words. So instead of having to glue each letter, cutting it on purple cardstock and having to glue it all on, I cut that out as a single layer, and then I'll just apply a purple background to it. So
What pen were you using?
I'm sorry?
What pen were you just using?
Oh, I used the Cricut glitter pen. I can grab that one. It's just a black fine tip glitter pen. Oops. Oh, did it roll off? No, it's in the thing. Still in there. So it's just this fine tip glitter pen. And Cricut has different types of pens. They have like opaque pens that you can use. They have the infusible ink pens, which are great to use, and then you can iron those on. So once I've done that, then I'm just gonna do my adhesive back here. And we'll put that in the center. Like that. Oh, did I do that right? I hope so. Yes, okay. Got nervous there. I thought I did that wrong. Now, this is where those score lines are super helpful. I can just follow along these score lines and score my design right up like that. And I'll put a little bit more adhesive on the back here. And this will glue together. So we'll adhere these two sides together here. All right. And there we are. Now I could have added a little circle there and put a little ribbon on it to tie it in, but now all I have to do is add some chapstick into my little box, and I have a cute little Valentine's gift. The fun thing about what I think about the Cricut, like, yes, could you cut this out with scissors and trace a pattern? Absolutely. And that's how I would have done it before Cricut. Why can't I do that one upside down? But now that I have my Cricut, I can cut out, 50 of these super quickly and send them in for a treat either to the office staff or if you wanted to do a class project. Sorry, guys. There we go. There's always going to be something on camera that doesn't always work out the way you think it would. But there we go. Now this image is in Cricut Access, so it's a Cricut Access project. And there we go. So you can super easily cut these out, make them for different people. You can, I did this one on the side so it can sit up, and then this one I did going up and down. So very easy, very quick projects to work on. The next project I want to show you is how to add vinyl to a tumbler. And I've got to grab another one of those glasses. Sorry, it's just across the room. All right, so now for this project, what you'll need to have on hand. So if you want to get into making vinyl tumblers or tumblers and embellishing them with vinyl, so you'll need to have your glass or your tumbler. And I like to use just straight rubbing alcohol, and I put that on my tumbler and I just wipe that off. Now this Love You design that I picked out, this is in Cricut Access. I didn't have to design it. I could add, maybe I could add a few more hearts to it or something if I wanted to, but I don't have to. It was super cute just the way it was. Let me kind of clean up these pieces here. So for the second part of this, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to cut this out. So we'll just use the standard grip mat, and I'm using a piece of vinyl. Now Cricut has a lot of different vinyl that you can use. They have, I guess the main difference that I want to talk about is the permanent vinyl and the temporary vinyl. Should I share my screen? Let me share my screen again. Okay, so in here, I finished cutting out this project, so I do done. I always like to say save after you've finished a project. You want to go ahead and make sure any changes you made are saved. And then we're going to do this project here. And I'll show you how easy it is to make a project. So I found a project I like. I'm just going to click make it, and it's automatically going to take me right to the prepare screen. Now from here, I want to do, let's see. I want to do the Love You. So my U, I want to be in this lighter color here. So I'm going to do that layer. So all I have to do is hit continue. And then select my material. So I'm using, this actually happens to be smart vinyl. So I'm just going to select smart vinyl, and I just need my fine point blade, and I'm ready to go. So let me put that in here. Okay, so I was talking about the different types of vinyl Cricut has. Cricut offers a lot of different vinyls. So you have some that are like a shimmer vinyl, there's glitter vinyl, all different types of vinyl. But the main difference are vinyls that are permanent and vinyls that are removable. So how do you know when to use which one? I like to use my permanent vinyl when I'm going to put something, say, in the wash. So if it's going to go through the dishwasher, I want to use a permanent vinyl. If it is going to be outside, I want to use a permanent vinyl, because the permanent vinyl is it's like UV resistant and it's waterproof. So it's going to last a long time. I have things I've done from 2018 planters that are still around. So your permanent vinyl is gonna last a long time. Your removable vinyl, I like to think of that as my renter's vinyl. Okay, so again, I turn it upside down and I remove that from the back. Your removable vinyl is not permanent. So you can, if you are renting an apartment, say, you could take your vinyl, decorate with it, and then you can remove it, and it won't leave a residue on the wall or anything like that. So this is how, so when you have your vinyl, what you're going to do is it cuts it out, and it cuts it out on the front of the vinyl. You use this little weeding tool, and you just click in the top there and pull back what you don't want to have on the design. So it's called weeding. So we're removing the bits that we don't want to have on the design. So I just removed that. And now I have these two little layers, the love and the U, and we're going to use a transfer tape. This is how we get all these pieces to stay together and transfer onto the glass. So this is what your transfer tape is. If you're using a glitter vinyl, you will want to use a strong grip transfer tape, but for just the everyday vinyl, your everyday transfer tape will be fine. So you just lay that over your material like that. You use your little wedge here, and you wedge it like this. Now, someone was asking how much is the subscription for Cricut Access. The Cricut Access subscription you can do monthly or annually. So that'll be a little bit different in price. And you do get different promotional things that go along with that. So I think if you go to the Cricut website and look up Cricut Access, you'll find all of the information about the different subscriptions there. So I think I'm not sure exactly the pricing on it offhand. Okay, so I've got my tumbler. I just use a little face cloth here to keep it from rolling around on me, and I've already cleaned it. So I'm just going to take my vinyl, and you hold it in your hand over where you want to place it, and then you just place it down. I use like a little taco fold, and I let one side go down, and I gently am smoothing my vinyl down as I'm going. See, so all my little pieces, all those little hearts are stuck together. And then you remove the transfer tape, and your design is still on the glass. Isn't that fun? Now, Cricut does have some really fun vinyl also that is heat activated. So if you put it on a tumbler or a mug, and then you use hot water in the tumbler or the mug, it changes color on the vinyl, which is really fun.
Hey, Kathy,
Yeah.
since you're talking about that, there was a question asking about whether or not I think using the tumbler machine. So in this case, I know you're using permanent vinyl. Would you discuss whether about the heat transfer of vinyl on tumblers?
Sure. So Cricut has a mug press, and you can use infusible ink on the mug press to press a design onto a mug. And you can, you know, it's funny, Felicia, I only use the mug press for infusible ink on the mug press. I haven't used the mug press for iron-on vinyl.
And you know what? And I'm wondering too if this is someone that is also possibly using some type of bubble
Sublimation.
wrap or something like that for
Yeah.
sublimation or something.
Yeah,
And
because
we
they're,
know that would be great for that type of machine as well.
yes, yes, sublimation is great. I tend not to use, I'll be honest, I use the permanent vinyl or the sublimation, like the sublimation or infusible ink on my mugs. So, for example, this mug here used infusible ink to make this mug. So it's unlike this where you can feel the vinyl. This is like it's been heated up, and it's now part of the mug. You can't feel it. I'm gonna lose or break this mug before this design goes away. This design through the dishwasher, you know, over 100. Actually, though, I don't know. I have some tumblers that have permanent vinyl on them, and they are easily 8 or 9 years old. So it just depends on how you use it. So those are my that's your vinyl, and that's how you use vinyl. And it just takes practice to getting your vinyl to go down smoothly. It just takes practice. Okay. Now our last one, and the last one is your little, I just had this little burlap tote bag that was so cute. And I'm not sure, how am I doing on time, Felicia?
Actually have about 2 more minutes. However, you're free to go over just a little bit.
Okay, thank you. I know there's a lot of questions. I want to make sure I get to all the questions. So for this one, I actually have it already cut out, and I'll show you how to weed, and then I'll show you how to press, since I've shown you how to cut out. Now, the difference with your iron-on material and your other materials, your iron-on material, you're actually cutting out on the back side of your design, of your material. You're cutting the design out of the back of the material. So when you're doing that, you want to mirror your image. So when you're using iron-on material, you're going to put it with the shiny side down, and we're going to mirror your image. So it actually cuts in reverse is the way you have to think about it, because then when you turn it over and you're putting it onto your shirt or your tumbler or whatever you're putting it onto, you get the reverse of it. So you always will mirror when you're doing iron-on material, which don't, you know, I have to say, I have been crafting with the iron-on material for years, and I still will make the mistake and forget to mirror it. So it happens, don't beat yourself up. Now, with your iron-on material, you can use a home iron, or I have this my easy press here. And with my easy press, I can use my phone. Let me see if I can remember if I need to go darker or lighter. I can use the heat settings on my phone. This is activated with Bluetooth. So I can just select which machine I'm using. I'll start a new project. I'm going to be using Everyday Iron-On, and it's going on burlap, and then I'll send those settings to my machine. Now, once those settings go over, it will walk me through the process of heating up and everything. So I'm going to let that kind of do its magic there, and I'll get my little burlap sack ready to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is just put a little piece of cardstock inside. And you don't have to do this. I just wanted to make it a little bit, I don't know, more even to put the design on it. So what we're going to do is we'll press it for 5 seconds while this is heating up, and remove any moisture out of the design. So we're going to press that for like 5 seconds and just get that moisture out. So your design space, I see lots of questions about uploading images. Design Space will upload your PNG images, your SVG type of images, all those types of images you can upload in Design Space. And unfortunately, I didn't realize it, but my daughter, let me see if I can get back here. If I can go back to my canvas. I don't want I don't want to go into let me see, how do I get rid of that? I didn't want to go into my uploads. But when you go to your canvas and you select upload, it will allow you to, it'll tell you what types of files that you can upload into Design Space. So what that means is like you can go into Design Space and upload PNGs, SVGs, all those different types of images can be uploaded. So I'm going to put my first layer down here. Let's do that 5-second heat up real quick. So it's going to heat it up for 5 seconds. We'll put that down. But yes, the upload feature is very nice with Design Space. If you have Cricut Access, you do get a few extra perks with the different features. One of them is removing the background of images you upload. So that's a nice perk there if you're not working with an SVG. That helps. So let's see. Can you get the card mat? Yes, the card mat does come for the Explore Air, and it has the 4 settings for your images. Okay, now I'm gonna let that just cool for a second, and I peel when cool. Which mat is best for cutting foam sheets on the Explore? So I would probably use my standard grip mat for foam sheets. And if I'm cutting something that is, if I'm using something that's not coming off the right way, let me see, sorry. If I'm using something that's not sticking down enough, you can use like blue painter's tape around it to hold it a little bit better. So I've done that sometimes just to hold it onto the mat. So where can you get material for the maker? The Cricut aisle in Michael's has a lot of different materials that you can cut with the maker, including like the veneers and things like that. The balsa wood is in the wood aisle at Michael's, so that's always a great spot. And then your acrylics and things like that for engraving, I also pick up at Michael's. Anita, yes, your maker can be set up with Bluetooth. So that is really good. Not only can it be set, oh, am I answering that right? Are you asking? I think you can set it up with Bluetooth. Okay, now I'm just gonna let this cool. It didn't quite seem to come off like I wanted it to. There we go. Okay. I'm being impatient and not letting it cool because I know time is of the essence. So see what, this is not what you want to have happen. I'm just being impatient. You want it to peel off nice and when it's cool to the touch, not hot like that. But we're just gonna layer down another piece on top and I'll do the heat up again. And we'll give that another 30-second heat. So to load different blades in your machines, you just open up that little clamp on your on the holder here. You can kind of see it. Let me just go like that. Okay, we're gonna let that cool off. That on the ground. In here, you just open that up, and this is where you put your pens or your scoring stylus, and this is where you put your different blades, and they just fall right in there, and they close up. Your Joy and Joy Extra only has one blade holder, so that will only hold one tool at a time. So like your Maker and your Explorer, you can put multiple tools in at one time. Okay. So you guys are asking so many good questions. How How do you know the size of the paper to use? When you look at your project you're making, you can see like how big it's going to be on a 12 by 12 mat. So when you look at your mat, let me see if I can share my screen again. So if I'm just adding, like a little circle here to be cut, first of all, I know my mat's 2 inches, my shape is 2 inches by 2 inches, but when I go to make it, you can see here where it falls on the mat. So you could say like, oh, I'll cut it 3 inches by 3 inches just to give myself a little wiggle room. So I hope that helps that one, Carla. So someone says, I have both the Explore and the Joy. Which one do I start with? I would start with the Joy because it's you're limited. You can only do 50 materials. You only have one tool to start with. So you don't have a lot to get too complicated with. So the Joy is a great place to start. And if you're looking at getting somebody into using a Cricut machine, the Joy uses most popular materials. So it takes the 50 most popular materials to work with. So that's why I would say I would start with the Joy and then grow from there. You can cut fabric with the Explore 3. You want to use that pink Explore, the pink cutting mat. And if you're cutting fabric on your Explore 3, your fabric has to have a bonding on the back of it. So that could be freezer paper, that could be some other type of iron-on material that bonds the design, the fabric. Okay, now I've let this cool. That bonds your fabric. And I'm just going to peel this off. Now, I normally like to do this on a flat surface, so you can kind of hold down as you go. It's a little warm to the touch, but there we go. So now I have a cute little, I can put kisses in here, or little hugs, Hershey hugs in here to go with my kisses. So that's a fun little Valentine's Day set there. Okay, so that answers that question. There's so many questions. I don't know if I'm going to get to them all. So if your Erica, if your cardstock is moving around on your mat, again, all you have to do is take your mat. You can wash it in the sink with Dawn dish detergent. And you're going to think, oh my gosh, I ruined it. It doesn't. You can just come on back and you just it'll dry. Once it's dry, the stick comes back. But I keep like these little baby wipes handy, and you just take the baby wipe and just wipe your mat. So if you get little cardstock bits on there or little fibers on there, dog hair, cat hair, let's say you forgot to put your plastic sleeve back on there, you've got pet hair, your hair, kids' hair, whatever is on there, whatever kind of dirt gets on there. And then you just use your wipe and wipe it off, and it will feel like, oh my gosh, I ruined it. There's no more stick on it. That stick is still there and you're fine. Don't worry about that.
Hey, Kesley.
Yes.
I would say that a good class would be a good Q&A section, a Q&A class, because of some of the questions that I'm seeing. But I do want to remind people that we do also have a lot of Cricut classes, previous classes, that you may want to go back and watch on our Michael's YouTube channel that definitely will answer a lot of the questions that we are seeing.
Yes. And you know what, Felicia, thank you for reminding me. I'm going to pop in the chat. Is it the chat? I'm going to pop in the chat to everybody. Let me make sure I got that to everybody. The link for the presentation. And because there was a slide in there that has like 5 or 6 videos that are on the Michael's website to answer those questions. And it has my information. So if you have questions after the class, you can always reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook. I don't have very many YouTube videos yet, but maybe this is something we need to do and fill those out. And I'm happy to answer your questions. I did see one other question, which I'm going to go ahead and again, share my screen and answer. And then I think we are out of time. So let me just answer this one. You asked how to find other people's projects. So in the home screen, when you go to the search button, you can type in anything you'd like to type in. So if you're looking for something for Valentine's Day, you can type in Valentine's and you'll find images that are associated with that, projects that are associated with that, not just Cricut projects, but other user projects. If you want to find a specific, like if you were looking for me, you wanted to find me, you could type in my name in the search bar, and it's Kesley Anderson. And at the bottom here are the different profiles of Cricut users. So this is my profile, and you can just click on me, and this will take you to my profile, and all of my shared projects are right here. So if you see something, you're like, oh, that is so cute, I want to make that project, you can just click on that project and say make it. And then you can also right here it'll say follow, and so you can give me a follow, and then you'll see new projects that I create and I add up there. All right.
Awesome. And really quick, I just want to answer a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One is from Rose asking about the next level classes. Again, Rose, we will have more intermediate and advanced classes, and those classes are available also on our YouTube channel. Then there's questions asking about if the blades will dull. We're gonna say I can honestly say yes, they will in time. We won't say they will dull really, really fast, but once you get to a point in which it is not cutting through your vinyl, well, that will probably be a good indicator that it does need to be changed. Anything you want to say on that real
Yeah,
quick before we go?
I have used, I mean, my fine point blade, I change it, maybe like it needs a change every 6 months, but I cut a lot. I think for the average user, it'll go easily a year or more. My other tools, I've never had to change those tools, my scoring tool, obviously, or anything like that. I've never had to change those. It's just the fine point blade. And I find like if I cut a lot with paper, it does tend to end up dragging on the paper and things like that. Um, there's so many good questions here, Felicia. I just wish we could get to them all.
I
Um,
agree. Oh, one last question, because I've seen the embossing. Which machine does emboss?
so your Maker 3 will engrave and deboss. So the debossing, it pushes into the paper, so embossing raises up the paper, and that you can do with like I'm thinking like the old-fashioned like pasta cutter kind of things with
The
the,
Sizzix?
yeah, the Civics will do that. But the Cricut is actually a debosser because the blade pushes down into your cardstock and works it from there. Yep. So that's your Maker 3 is the one that has all the different tools that you can really like I said, you can grow with this machine. So you have like a deep knife tool, you have the perforation tool, you have the debossing tool, the engraving tool. All those tools are unique to the Maker. Now, if you're thinking, oh great, I got the Explorer, I'm not going to be able to do enough with the Explorer, you will be amazed. You will do so much with your Explore machine. And when you're ready, then you can jump up to the Maker 3. But if you are somebody who cuts leather, and maybe you bought this machine specifically to cut leather, then you would have wanted to get a Maker 3. But you'll be amazed how much you can do just with your Explore machine to get you started. Yeah, but I'm going to reinforce what Felicia said. The YouTube website does have a lot of our classes, previous classes on there. I did highlight a few of them in the presentation. And I'm going to double check that I've given sharing rights to the presentation before we jumped into the class. So if you're in there now, you may not be able to access it quite yet. So just give me until we jump out of the class, and I'll make sure we can. Oh no, people are in there. Okay, I see you. So yeah, that'll give you lots of information there. And then please do feel free to reach out to me if you have more questions, or if you're like, hey Kesley, I would love to see you do a video on this or ideas for future classes. I think at the end of this workshop, it pops you out a Q&A or a survey. So I'd love to know what you'd like to see in future classes. We do have more classes upcoming. This workshop was really just to say, hey, you want to get into tumblers? Here's what you need. Here, you want to get into iron-on? Here's what you need. Get your machine set up. Also, Cricut support, if you are having any trouble connecting your machine, Cricut support is so fantastic, and they are able to really help out with your connections and getting you set up. So if your Bluetooth isn't working or you're just not, it's just not working for you, don't hesitate to reach out to Cricut support, and they'll help you get it set up. So I think that's everything I can get to in the time we have allotted. Maybe next time we need to add more time.
I agree. Well, thank you so much, Kesley, and we hope you all have a wonderful day and stay safe.
Stay warm.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.